Hi, welcome to SBR Sports Fix. My name is Peter Loshak. Today is Monday, September 4th, and of course, every Monday I do a recap, a preview of some of the upcoming series and pitching assignments in MLB. Of course, I've been doing very well. Regular viewers know I've been doing very well in baseball for all of July and August, I do a live show every morning at 10:30 Eastern time where I give all my official picks, and then on the weekends, once in a while, I tweet them out. So, all right, we've got a bunch of series coming up this Tuesday and Wednesday. Most of the series, because today is Labor Day, don't have Thursday games. So I'm just going to, and I, of course, I already broke down the Monday games in the morning show today. So I'm just going to look at what's on tap for Tuesday and Wednesday right now. And of course, this is a very, very unique time of the season. A lot of guys get brought up from the minor leagues. So that can change things, obviously, in terms of the lineup and in terms of the bullpens, of course. And we're seeing a lot of youngsters who are being brought up to get the starts in the majors. And some of those guys are having great results. Some of those guys not such great results. So it's definitely an interesting time. There can be excellent value to be found in baseball in this time of the year when everyone is paying attention mostly to football. Of course, in general, Detroit has raised the white flag on their season, and they've got absolutely demolished by Cleveland in their last series. So Detroit, until further notice, is probably going to be an auto fade. They're looking like they're losing again to KC today. And Detroit is looking like a team that's just going to be an auto fade in general. Of course, their upcoming series is against KC, losing today. And looking at the starting pitching matchups, I think I might be leaning towards second halves on Tuesday and Wednesday. The Tuesday matchup is Vargas against Sanchez. Sanchez has been really vulnerable, but Vargas has also been struggling. So KC's probably going to have some value there once again, but the better value might come on the second half, and you don't have to deal with Vargas's iffiness against Detroit, because Detroit should put up at least a few against him. And then on Wednesday as well, the pitching matchup is Hamill against Boyd, and Boyd's been a bit better recently. He doesn't go deep, and Hamill has been okay but not great, very consistently mediocre, or maybe even a tick below mediocre. So again, on Wednesday, I might be looking at KC on the second half as opposed to on the full game. But once again, probably fading Detroit any and all ways until further notice is something to do with something that will have some value, and that's probably the case in the next two games of the KC and Detroit series. All right, let's see what else is interesting. A bunch of teams that were slumping recently might be coming out of it soon. Of course, we're seeing signs from Houston. Houston was the worst team in all of MLB in terms of ROI in August, but they've picked it up recently. They got Correa back, so Houston might be profitable, or nicely profitable, in September, and it's looked like they're starting off that way with a bunch of wins. And the same deal might be the case with the Yankees and the Dodgers. The Dodgers, of course, might have hit the low point of their season recently, losing 3 of 4 on the road at San Diego. But they might pick things up in September. I'm vaguely looking for that. And the same thing with the Yankees. The Yankees also got Bird back, and they were slumping out for a while as well. But they're looking like, not necessarily looking to bet them in their current series against Baltimore. But I would expect the Yankees to maybe start to improve in September and at least be a moderately positive, profitable team to bet on, if not significantly. And let's see what else is interesting as far as teams are concerned. I guess that's about it. Of course, Cleveland, we've been expecting Cleveland to pick it up all year long with a great bullpen, great lineup, and great starting pitching, yet they were one of the worst teams in baseball to bet on at home. They've been dominating, of course, recently, and the fact that they dominated against Detroit is not super telling, but I think that they are likely to be a profitable team throughout September, at least a little bit. Okay, so let's get to some individual pitching matchups that have caught my eye on Tuesday in the Yankees-Baltimore game. Sabathia against Hellickson. Sabathia, of course, chugging along very respectably this year for the Yankees. Impressive what he's done. And on the other side, Hellickson, very, very, very vulnerable. So even though Baltimore has a great year-long record at home in terms of ROI, that might be a game to look to bet on the Yankees, or at least the Yankees' first 5, or at the very least, the Yankees team total over, or first 5 innings team total total over because Hellickson's looking very, very vulnerable and looking like he's going to get hit once again by the Yankees. So that's the first thing that jumps out at me on Tuesday. Then also in Minnesota, it's the next Bartolo Colon day, and Colon, of course, has been doing pretty well for a bunch of starts in a row, and I'm very happy to be able to say that I did not fade Colon in those starts like I was doing for most of the season. He did have 8 strikeouts in his last start. This one, though, I think he might be a little bit I think it's a little bit more likely that he gets hit here on the road against Tampa Bay. On the other side, though, Odorizzi's also been getting hit start in and start out, so he doesn't have much, struggling pretty badly. So maybe the best way to play that one will be the first half over. And not just take the Tampa Bay team total over, but take the first half over in case Colon, does suddenly have another 1 or 2 run start. Odorizzi could easily get you all the runs you'll need for that one. So that's a pick that I'm going to be looking at very, very closely. And of course, tune into tomorrow morning's show at 10:30 Eastern time to find out if I wind up giving that one as an official pick. But as I sit here right now, it's looking very, very tempting to me and looking like something that I'm definitely going to do. Another over or first 5 innings over that I might be on tomorrow is in the Toronto-Boston game. I'm on the over in the Toronto-Boston game today. And tomorrow, Estrada against Erod. Both those guys have been struggling and one way or another probably get hit once again, at least a little bit. Estrada hasn't been terrible, and neither has Erod. But Estrada, either he has control issues or he doesn't have control issues but gets hit. So he's looking in general pretty vulnerable here, and the same thing for Erod. And then let's see. And then, of course, also tomorrow is Justin Verlander's first start for Houston, and he's going up against Miranda, and Miranda has definitely come crashing back down to earth. He's been looking very vulnerable every start, and Houston, not that huge of a favorite. The opening line I saw at BetOnline was about -160, which is right about the maximum of where I'd be looking to take them. I'll definitely be looking to take them on the -1 line or the -1.5 line. Not taking them on the money line at -160. If I take them, it's going to be on the run line or the -1 line because there's high volatility, I think, here, both with Miranda and Verlander. And if Miranda gets hit hard, then Houston probably wins by a bunch of runs. And Verlander, as of right now, I think we have to assume that he's going to come in and do as well as he was doing with Detroit. We'll see. I think we have until we have any reason to doubt him. I think we can assume that he'll be at least okay. And certainly that should be the case with his first start here. So that's what I'm looking at for Tuesday right now. Definitely looking at taking Houston, to hit Miranda. Definitely looking at the Minnesota Tampa Bay first 5 innings over, and probably the full game over, and probably the team total overs as well. And definitely looking for the Yankees to hit Hellickson once again. Then moving on to Wednesday. Some interesting stuff on Wednesday as well. A couple of youngsters who had some interesting first starts. The first one is this guy Peters for Miami. He had great numbers in the minors and came in his first start. I was wondering how he would do because he's only 5'10". The angles can be a little bit different in the majors, but he got a lot of ground ball outs and just had a great start in his first start. And he might be in for another one here. The question is, will he have sort of a sophomore start regression? Possible. Obviously, Washington has a huge lineup, but if he's on his game and getting a lot of ground balls, doesn't matter who's in the lineup for Washington. So that was a very impressive debut. I'm still not sure how I want to handle it. Gonzalez, got hit in his last start, but he still had strikeouts. So this might be a shot, might be a game where we want to take a shot with the under, maybe, or if we think Peters is going to have another good start. It's hard to say what the line is going to be now, but certainly if Miami, I'm assuming it's going to be close to, pick them in this game. So maybe Miami will be worth a shot at that line. It's interesting, but definitely Peters, I think, is the real deal. And for the rest of September, look for him to have good starts. Again, Casey in Texas, Hamill against Boyd, looking at Casey on the second half. And then the other starting pitcher, who's the other youngster who's getting a look in the majors, is this guy Flaherty for St. Louis. His first start was not great, but it did have some positives to it. He got a lot of strikeouts, a lot of swinging strikes. So that's a positive sign. Not sure I want to take him here on the road against San Diego, though. Of course, San Diego has been extremely profitable at home overall on the year, not just because of the recent 3 out of 4 winning series against the Dodgers. They were double-digit profitable at home even before that. So I definitely am not too excited to fade San Diego here. But I am going to look for Flaherty to have some good outings in the rest of September. That game, maybe I'll look at the under because Dinelson Lamet also had a nice start, his last start out. 10 strikeouts, and he's looking pretty good as well. So maybe a shot with the under. In general, though, I am looking for Flaherty to pitch pretty well in September, but not necessarily looking to bet on St. Louis tomorrow. And then a couple other games where I might be looking at overs. First one is in Texas and Atlanta, Hamels against Newcomb. Hamels' success when he first came off the DL surprised me a little bit. He has regressed recently, though, and I expect his struggles to continue. And on the other side, it's Newcomb for Atlanta. We know the deal with him, a guy who gets a lot of strikeouts but also has control issues. Doesn't look like he's got a handle on that right now. So I'm going to be leaning to the over in that one and the first half over as well. We'll see what the line is. That's on Wednesday. And then in the Angels and Oakland game, another situation where both starting pitchers are looking very iffy. Mania was great for a stretch this year, but has been really struggling recently. Looks like he's going to be questionable and vulnerable for the rest of the year. The Angels, of course, have added a bunch of bats, so their offense gets a boost. And on the other side, Tyler Skaggs has also been struggling recently as well. So that might be a second game to look for an over, or even better, a first half over. So, yeah, that's just about it. That's all I'm looking for. And then also, this guy, there's a starting pitcher for Minnesota who's definitely interesting, a guy named Sleggers. He's 6'10", and a lot of times these 6'10" guys, when they're on, are absolutely unhittable, but because of their extreme height, it can be a little tricky to have their mechanics adjust at all times, and especially when they make the jump from AAA from the minors to the majors. So not sure what to expect from Sleggers. He is 6'10", great results in the minors overall, and had some decent results in his short appearances so far in the majors. So we'll see. I'm probably going to pass on that game just because Sleggers is an unknown, and going on the road at Tampa Bay, it might be a spot where he'll struggle a little bit, and Snell on the other side has really been coming into his own. That's just an interesting game. I'm probably going to pass on it, but it'll certainly be interesting to see how it turns out. But in general, on Wednesday, I think I will be looking for another good start from Peters, Casey on the second half, and probably looking at overs, and especially first half overs in Texas, Atlanta, and the Angels in Oakland. But maybe some more plays will look appealing between now and then. Of course, I'll be covering that card on Wednesday morning at 10:30 Eastern time. And that's all I got for right now as far as things I'm thinking about for the upcoming series in MLB on Tuesday and Wednesday. Again, tomorrow morning, Tuesday, 10:30 Eastern time is when I do my live show breaking down the entire card and giving my official picks for the day. Thanks for tuning in.